confused about what the, I heard that there was an amendment 12 years ago in the budget that somehow exempted us, and then also Senate Bill 315 that was passed last session. What can you sort of clarify what the status is?
Sure. In 2001, in the budget bill, they slipped in a couple of paragraphs that took the reporting requirements away from not took them away from the industry, but required that the industry did not have to report to the local fire departments and your local emergency response commission.
Just the oil and gas industry? Just
the oil and gas industry. And then in 315, 1509.10 H and I, dealing with the physicians, it put an undue burden on physicians on obtaining information during an emergency. And I was trade secrets. Trade secrets in Ohio, the industry appears that they make the determination on whether a chemical is trade secret. And according to federal law, the only agency that can do that, or the person, is the administrator of the U.S. EPA. So those are all violations of EPRA.
So, Governor Kasich is very fond of talking about how he helped pass the most stringent fracking regulations in the country. Clearly, that's not the case when he signed into law provisions that actually hide, in 315, that actually hide information from physicians that are trying to treat people that are affected. And clearly, he did not get rid of this provision that was enacted long before he was ever in office. So the proof is in the pudding. If the governor really wants to be fair and even-handed, he will revisit this law and give people the right to know that people fought for and many people died over.
May I add something? The mechanism by which industries have to report their hazardous chemical information is a Tier 2 form in Ohio. And if you look at the Tier 2 forms, they're packed with information, but they're elegantly simple. And what the 2001 exemption for the oil and gas industry did is basically dismiss this Tier 2 form and replace it with an annual production log, production report and well log, which do not contain the same information, not in the same degree of detail, and it's not going to the same place that it used to. It's only going to the Ohio Department of Natural Resources. The information that was available to the public and first responders through the local emergency planning committees, the fire departments, and the State Emergency Response Commission was now to be made available through a website, which is a portion of the ODNR website, the emergency response part. If you go in there and attempt to use it, you, like me, will be very frustrated by the user unfriendliness. And it's absolutely not remotely an alternative to the way things had been done previously.
Questions?
The lawsuit that the Ohio Supreme Court just accepted, Morrison the Beck, specifically to do with enforcing local zoning laws on oil and gas development. Folks are familiar with that. This is Jack Morrison Jr. I don't know the background of that, but I mean, is there some hope that there will be some success in the court on this issue, or not coming out of both ends of legislation in the court?
The Monroe Falls case.
Yes.
Is more to do with local zoning.
Yes.
The Monroe Falls put in some specific rules or laws on, they had to get a permit from the city itself in order to drill a well. So it's different.
Yeah,
that's not really EPRA.
Yeah, but looking at their brief, they're talking about a lot of these issues that local authorities are able to know. That they talk specifically about what sorts of hazards exist.
Well, I think that's why they enacted the laws, was to try to protect the locals and the first responders.
Sure.
They thought they could, gather more control over what was going on within their own community. Imagine that, you want control of what's in your community.
So do you have confidence that we'll have success before the Supreme Court?
I certainly hope they do, because I think it will cause a domino effect if they do have success. I think we will see more and more of our communities following that same path.
You know, on that point, so the General Assembly, as we all know, took away or consolidated all exclusive control over permitting of a well.
Yep.
Now, two issues there. Number one, there are some attorneys that believe that was an overreach by the General Assembly, that really could not vanquish local control. So that is one issue that is ripe, and the Supreme Court could consider, and we certainly hope that they do. Secondly, you know, if the Supreme Court chooses not to examine that, there are issues beyond the well construction. The well construction is permitting and siting is all fundamental, but there are other issues that local governments could control, certainly by zoning, we would believe. Hours of operation, lighting, access roads, dust control, and so on. At a minimum, we would hope the Supreme Court would give a ringing, you know, revalidation to that. We think they ought to go beyond that and again look at this more fundamental issue of the local control. I will say, just again, you know, this is not just some, technical gotcha, some tiny little part of Ohio law. No, this is fundamental, as Theresa and other speakers have explained. You know, the public's right to know, and our public safety forces need to know. What, you know, Houston, we have a problem when the local emergency management agency, when the local fire department are saying, we don't have this information, and we ought to have it. That is a huge red flashing light. It's a serious problem, and it needs to be fixed.
Spencer?
Yeah, I had a question. You know, trade secrets has been going on ever since that bill. Does this letter address the trade secrets in addition to the fact that the local first responders don't have the information they need and they should under this law? I mean, is there a portion of this letter that says
Yes.
that as well?
Yeah.
Okay, and so then what would that do to the whole issue of, you know, when they're filing these material safety data sheets, they're like, this is proprietary. What does that do? Do they have to then disclose that here, or they have to?
There's a whole process that they have to send to the administrator of the US EPA. They actually have to petition the administrator to determine whether it is actual trade secret or not.
Have they? Do we know if they've done that already, or?
I do not know that.
Okay, so it could potentially, this could potentially address the trade secret issue, but it does definitely then deal with the local responders' right to know this stuff.
Correct.
Okay. What would you like to see happening then? It's like when they move into a county and they set up a drill site, that they would automatically be filing these reports with the local agencies as well as with the state? Is that what they
Yes,
should be
by
doing?
law, that's what they're supposed to be doing.
Okay.
Under,
By federal law.
by federal law, right.
Right.